Hello and welcome to episode 138 of Daryl Show Your Work. All right, so continuing on with the overall theme of post exploitation, enumeration of a Windows target host. In this episode, I'm going to be mostly focusing on enumerating users and groups once we have exploited a system. All right, so um, uh, also want to pedal back a little bit and say that I'm going to just be using one Metasploit module here. All right. And you'll know when I get to it. All right. So before I go any further, I want to preface this video with my usual disclaimer, since I will be doing some post exploitation activity here by saying this is for research, ethical, and educational purposes only. Any sort of malicious actions that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching this video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so quite a few things I've done prior to recording. So not only have I done our discovery to show that my IP address is at 10 .10.40.3, and our target is at 10.3.27.23, but also gone on ahead and just ran the Brigetto based exploit here just to save some time, because again, this is less about the exploit and more about the post exploitation activity, which in this case I'm conducting enumeration. So I just want to make sure that that's focused on. All right, so the first I'm going to go over just a couple of interpreter based commands that we can use to do post exploitation enumeration of user accounts. Let's say we wanted to know what our current account user is, or we want to know what account we've compromised or the level of privileges they have. And I've shown this before, so this is going to be kind of a review, but I just want to make sure I'm covering everything. It's going to be getuid. All right, and we can see that I have an administrator account here, and we can see the computer name, administrator. All right, so we at least know that I have some a level of elevated privileges here. So if I wanted to be able to run more, more privileged processes here, I have some ability to do that. I don't have full system authority, but I do have elevated privileges, which is always a good thing. All right, so if I wanted to actually see what those privileges are, I could do getprivs. All right, we have the list of privileges here that enables me to perform certain actions here on the target host. All right, so I'm going to background this, and I'm going to actually use a Metasploit module here, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to show a module that's going to show how we can enumerate logged on users that are currently logged on to the system. All right, so I'm going to say search logged underscore on. All right, so that gives me just one choice here, and that is the Windows gather logged on user enumeration. And of course, you see posts here, so that's an indicator that this is a post enumeration based module. So I'm gonna say use 0 since that is the only module ID available to me, and just go to show options. All right, so all I have to do is set the session here, so we know that I could do sessions, and we can know since I background my interpreter session that we should only have that one session going. There it is. All right, so I'm gonna set, and we can see that the session ID is 1. So I'm gonna set session all cap to 1. All right, and let's go ahead and run that, and let's see what we get back. All right, so we can see as far as user accounts, we can see that I'm the only user account here that's actually has been logged onto this computer. All right, so if I wasn't, we would see a more robust list here of users who've logged into this system, or who's currently logged into the system. All right, so another thing that I want to show is how we could do some privilege enumeration with shell. So I'm going to jump back in. to my Meterpreter session by saying sessions. No, it's just one. All right, and then I'm gonna execute the shell here since these are going to be Windows-based commands. All right, so again, if I want to, if I'm actually in Windows and I want to know what account am I could simply say who am I opposed to get UID, and we could still get the same answer: computer name and then account name, which is administrator. All right, so let's say that I want to see which users are actually logged in at the moment. All right, so a different way to do what I just did in using that module. All right, I could do query user, and let's see. All right, so it basically gives me back the same information that running that Metasploit module gave me, and shows that I'm the only user that's currently logged in. All right, so but the main thing is this is important post exploitation information because it lets me know if I'm able to see who's actually logged onto the system here. It lets me know that how detectable I am. So if there's other accounts on here, there's a bunch of other people logged on, or there's certain accounts that given the naming convention or the amount of privileges they have, I can see them on here where I may want to bag out because it may make me more easily detectable. So it's always good to run these type of queries to know who else is on the system, and to know that, hey, maybe I need to come in here at a later time, or a time where certain users or the amount of users aren't on here, so I'm less visible. All right, so if I wanted to get a list of all the user accounts that are actually on the system, whether they're actually logged on or not, I would just simply say net users. All right, and we can see that actually administrator and the guest account are the only users that are on this machine here. All right, so no other users are available on this machine other than the administrator account that I'm using now, and then of course a guest account. All right, so let's say that I wanted to know, if I wanted to gain more information about a particular user. In this instance, I'm going to use administrator as an example. So let's say I wanted to just know more about this administrator account that I've gotten a hold of. So I'm going to say net user administrator. All right, so it's going to give me, just scroll up here a little bit. It's going to give me a bunch of information about that account. All right, it's going to give me it's going to have the comments in here where it says built-in account for administrating the computer domains. So it's going to tell me that could possibly tell me what the role of this account is. So therefore, I'll be able to know exactly how much I can do here, how much damage I could particularly do, or exactly how much I have access to and where I can navigate. All right, and it tells me whether or not the account is active, and then it tells me the account that never expires. All right, so all of this is great information. Then it gives me the password policy here. All right, so this is great information because this can because it's great. This is great because basically now I can maintain persistence, excuse me, for longer, without having to worry about having to regain access after a certain amount of time. All right, so basically, if I know that this password never expires, then I don't have to worry about something like a password change, or or an automatic password change is going to lock me out the system, and I have to then gain entry to the system like I did by exploiting Brigetto all over again, where I know that to some degree, unless the legitimate user of this account resets the password for some reason, I have access to. So this is a good command to run, just to know just to know basic things about the account that you have access to, and things such as the password policy to know if there is a potential vector there for persistence. All right, so let's say I want to do the same thing for the a non-privileged account here. All right, so let's say I wanted to run that same command for the guest account. All right, so let's say net user guest. All right, and then we can what we can see here, it just says this is a built-in account for a guest access to the computer domain, but it says that the account never expires, but it says the account active. No. All right, so this tells us that this account isn't even active, and so I mean but that's something that lets me know that the account is inactive. So again, this is just another example of how we can enumerate information about specific accounts and determine which accounts do we want to potentially exploit as far as achieving whatever objectives we have for exploiting the system in the first place. All right, so another thing that I want to show is how to view all user groups. So if I wanted to do that, I would say net local group. All right, so we see quite a few different user groups here. All right, just going through this. So this one, remote desktop users group looks pretty interesting. So more than likely, everyone in this group has RDP access and can connect remotely to other desktops. So what if I were to gain access to that group? If I were to make myself a member of this group, well, I would be able to do the same thing because I would probably, as a user, would be able to inherit whatever the permissions or the privileges are of that group, and being able to do the same thing. All right, so that's another thing to keep in mind as far as why it's good to enumerate groups. And just going off of naming conventions alone, it may give you some indicators as far as what certain privileges or permissions that you may have if you join it. And when you have an elevated account such as mine, such as the administrator account, well, it's not going to be too difficult to make yourself a member of that group, which is, again, it's always why it's always good to try to gain elevated access once you gain access to a system. So another one last a command that I could do here. Let's say if I want to view which users are in the administrators group. All right, so I want to know if there's any other users here in the administrator group, and we pretty much know the answer to that because there's only two users on this machine and only one of them is active, and that's me. But I still want to show how we could enumerate that information. So I'm gonna say net local group, and if I specifically wanted to know about the administrators group, I could choose any group from here, but I'm gonna just go with this second one here, administrators group. Okay, so of course we see that that only under members, the only that the administrator account that I'm using now is under that account because again, only two accounts here on the machine. Only one account is active, and that's the administrator account that I've managed to hijack. All right, so that brings me to the end of my video here. That's just a few different post enumeration. Well, we could technically you don't even have to, you know, you don't even have to compromise or exploit a particular machine to do these type of commands on a Windows platform. But I wanted to give context to these commands because and give reasons for why it's great to run these commands once you gain access to a target host, because then you start to gain more information about that host and be able to have better ideas as far as, again, where you can navigate to in the system, whether or not you could pivot, what accounts you could compromise, what groups they belong in, and then what permissions some of those groups may have, and it basically lets you know what options you have moving forward. But it's always good to do this with already elevated privileges, because being able to do things such as joining different user groups, you probably won't be able to do without those elevated privileges that I was able to have by compromising the administrator account. So please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.